another situation surrounding reproductive rights. The Trump administration, this was from the AP, but it's all over the news. The Trump administration revokes guidance requiring hospitals to provide emergency abortions. They announced Tuesday that they would revoke guidelines to the nation's hospitals that directed them to provide emergency abortions for people when they are necessary to stabilize their medical condition. So what this means is if I go into a hospital setting as a pregnant person and I am hemorrhaging, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to get essential medical care, meaning abortion, if I need that, to stop me from bleeding to death. So basically what they are saying is they're continuing this same trajectory of cruelty is the point, where they're saying birthing people's lives do not matter. Now, the Biden administration had argued that hospitals, including ones in states with near total bans, needed to provide emergency abortions under the Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act, which is also known as EMTALA. This law requires emergency rooms that receive Medicare dollars to provide an exam and stabilizing treatment for all patients. And just to be clear, almost every single emergency room in the United States relies on and has Medicare funds attached to it. So the Trump administration announced that it will no longer enforce this policy. The move prompted concerns from a lot of doctors, of course, and abortion right activists that people will not get emergency abortions in the states with strict bans. So truly, if you are pregnant in a state with a abortion ban at any level in place, God forbid something happened to you during your pregnancy, it is not a guarantee that you can go to an emergency room and receive care. I can't tell you, when I read this, Desmond, I felt my blood pressure go to a level that I don't recall lately. And there's a lot of stuff that raises our blood pressure these days, but this hurt me on so many levels because, one, the Republicans are constantly hammering on about life and the preciousness of life. But it's like, you can't say that if you actually are allowing birthing people to bleed out in the parking lot and refusing to give them essential health care because it might have to include abortion care. I know so many of my friends that would literally be dead if they hadn't had an opportunity to receive life-saving care because something went really, really wrong. And I don't mean early on in pregnancy. I'm talking close to the end of a pregnancy. This is so cruel and sadistic and truly something that, once again, I'd get my license revoked, because if I saw somebody come in bleeding out, I would just treat them. So it's like, I don't know what they're expecting doctors who take a Hippocratic oath that says they will do everything that they can to preserve life. This flies in the face of medicine. It flies in the face of science. And also, once again, why aren't we allowed to sue the Trump administration for practicing medicine without a license? This is Sandra, I agree. This is disgusting and this is unbelievable to me. Desmond, what did you think when you saw this?
And it gets harder and harder to find the words, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because what is there left to say about Donald Trump? I mean, you just go so many different stories across the board of the things that he has done, either in his first term or now in his second term here. And I don't even want to just put it on just on him, because, I think almost any Republican president will probably have done this in this particular moment in time, because they all seem to be on board with these abortion bans. Like, they're coming down every single red state. They tried them here in Montana. Thankfully, they were blocked by our state Supreme Court. But they're trying them everywhere. Mm-hmm. And so this is a Republican Party narrative right now. They want to do everything humanly possible to prevent people from, I guess, getting the health care that they need. We saw the story in Texas just like a week ago, talking about the police trying to use this sophisticated surveillance tech, trying to track somebody who they thought might have had an abortion in a different state. It is beyond me when we hear these stories anymore. I mean, like how anyone can take them seriously as far as like, oh, they're just trying to actually help people. They're trying to do the right thing. No, they are not. They are
No, they're
costing
not.
people's lives. Like they are legitimately costing people's lives at every single turn. Like,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I mean, this story is just like one of so many right now. We're thinking about the crises that are coming upon this country from just like the callous, just reckless nature of the Trump administration. So, I mean, when
Yeah.
I heard the story, I was hurt because a lot of people are going to suffer for this. Being a being a cis man, I'm never going to understand the fear that comes from hearing a
Hmm.
story like this. But I empathize with just the fact that like it is just another attack on our rights that
Yeah.
we always thought we would have, and now we're all sitting here questioning just like what's next.
Yeah.
Seriously, what is next?
Yeah. And if you have a partner that can give birth,
Yeah,
this would be a very scary thing,
for them and for
adjacent
me.
to and for you, right?
Yeah,
So everyone really can understand this. And what scares me too is they are trying to override these laws when like Montana, for example, is saying, oh, we're gonna, solidify it into our constitution. They're
yeah,
actually now trying to override that with more federal legislation. And so whatever happened to the whole states' rights on this issue? That was the whole point of dropping Roe, right? Was take
yeah.
it back to the states. Well, guess what? The states are all pretty much saying we demand abortion access, we demand essential health care,
Even in the red
and
states.
even absolutely the red states.
Yeah.
And so, what scares me though too is I live in a blue state, and it's really purple here in Pennsylvania, but I say blue because we have a blue governor and we hold a very slim majority in the House. But what scares me is there are a lot of laws, and I think they're called trigger laws, and don't quote me on
Yeah.
that, but where if a governor that is a Republican or a conservative were to take place, all these laws would suddenly go up for committee and debate, and they've basically got things locked and loaded. So when the time is right, a Republican governor can sign them into law. And so I think we've got to realize too that when I say Democrats aren't going to win an election unless we get universal health care, that includes codifying Roe v. Wade into our United States Constitution as basically an inalienable right that we all deserve essential health care. And that's the foundation, because we could talk about all the limits that they put to access to abortion care, even with Roe in place. It wasn't like this was this magical time. There were a lot of restrictions put in place, but we at least need to solidify that as a foundation,
Mm-hmm.
because the idea that I live in a country where, depending on my geography, I could live or die if I am pregnant, that is unacceptable and
Yeah.
unnecessary. And we've once again got some reckoning to do within ourselves as a nation. Who do we want to be? And I know that the majority, because we've seen it over and over again, we want to be a nation that supports birthing people through that process. And right now, we are doing anything but that. This is a mark uh, on this administration, and this is shameful. And anyone who claims to be pro life and supports this initiative, they are anything but that. And yeah, makes me so angry, Desmond.
No, I completely understand. And it's hard not to be, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard not to be. We are seeing, attacks on basically everything that we ever thought, was sacred, like here in
Mm-hmm.
America. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like people's access to healthcare. I mean, people's access to public health. We talk about, like what's
Yep.
happening with RFK all the time. Kilmar
Mm,
Abrego Garcia is coming home today, but he was
that's
kept
right.
in an El Salvadoran, slave labor camp
Mm-hmm.
for months on
Mm-hmm.
end. I mean, like all the things that Doge just cut access to. I mean, the list kind of just goes on and on and
Yeah.
on. I mean, Trump in 4 months has upended everything that people just kind of like took for granted. I think, so to speak. I
I
mean,
know.
they have. When we think about what are rights in this country, it feels like every
Mm-hmm.
day they are challenging what is a right, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a
Mm-hmm.
scary place to be right now. And truthfully speaking, I just think that there needs to be a real reckoning in this
Yeah.
country. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't want to just see Republicans defeated. I want to see them just like essentially pushed into obscurity after
I
this
do
is all
too.
said and done. And I don't think that's going to happen unless the party that is challenging them, the Democratic Party, actually fully embraces the things that we are all demanding. You know, true protections from these things happening again, true access to like healthcare, and just, I mean, we just need a party that's actually going to provide for us the way that essentially the Democrats, what they were, I mean, back in the time of FDR. We need that version of them again, not the version that they've been the last few years.
No, I agree completely. Well, everybody, this was quite a show. We touched on a lot of different topics, but really at the heart of all of this, it's really just about seeing each other in our full humanity and recognizing that we all have a right to be here and that we deserve basic decency from one another. And, we deserve the absolute basics from our government, including, healthcare and housing and a living wage. And we should be demanding, my gosh, just that at the bare minimum from our elected officials.
The bare minimum.
The bare minimum.
Yeah.
Oh, Desmond, if people want to learn more about our work or follow us here on Substack or subscribe, where can they go?
If you want to click on the top of the screen right now, you'll be able to subscribe to both of our Substacks, and make sure that you do that. If you're watching the playback, you will see our links in the episode description. You should be able to subscribe to our Substacks there, as well as YouTube channels. Natalie is on Instagram. Please go check out her Instagram, everyone. We will be back next week with a new live stream, so be on the lookout for that. And thanks as always for being here. Really do appreciate it. Natalie, her ring light stayed on the entire show, so thank God. Thank God. We are really happy about this.
It's all the small victories, everybody. No, I appreciate always being in conversation with you, Desmond. Thank you so much for creating the space for us. And to everybody that joined us, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. And until we see you next time, please take care of yourselves and each other. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.